Assalamu alaikum. May peace be upon you, and welcome back to Deen Friends. This is going to be episode 2 on Atheism Examined. Why there is something rather than nothing. Let's get started. So, let me ask you a question that is so basic. Most people never stop to face it. Why is there anything at all? Why is there a universe instead of nothing? Why do we exist instead of absolute emptiness? Every debate, science, religion, philosophy, sits on top of this question. Because if there is no answer for why reality exists, then we don't even have a foundation for the rest of the questions that you have. So some people respond with, it just is. But think about what that means really. If someone asked, how did this building get here? And you said, it just is, you wouldn't be explaining anything. You would be refusing to explain, right? So today we're going to walk through this calmly and clearly. Let's get started with borrowed existence, okay? Look around you. Almost everything you can point at is the type of thing that could have not existed. It's a dependent thing. It is contingent. You could have never been born. This phone could have never been made. The tree outside could have never been grown. Even the universe could have been different or not here at all. Here's a simple way to say it. Most things have borrowed existence. Borrowed existence means it doesn't exist by itself. It depends on something else. So a chair depends on wood and a builder. A human depends on parents, food, air, and time. Our Earth depends on the sun, right? Gravity, the solar system and the universe. Internally, the Earth depends on the atmosphere, water, geological activity, and then life itself, right? And then what does our galaxy depend on, right? Our galaxy depends on, gravity for the most part, right? But it includes stars, gas, dust, and most importantly, dark matter, right? So, and then finally, what does the universe depend on, right? It depends on matter, energy, especially dark energy, and the laws of physics. And then if you just keep going with that, it never ends, right? And so there has to be a beginning that starts everything, or else we wouldn't exist right now, right? So that's the big question. If everything is borrowed, then who owns existence, right? I'm going to give you an analogy. It's a borrowed money example, okay? So imagine a town where everyone is broke, right? No one has money. Then you see someone holding $100 and you ask, where did you get that? He says, I borrowed it from him. And so you ask the next person, where did you get it? And he says, I borrowed it from her. Now imagine this just keeps going forever. Every person only borrowed, right? No one has ever owned. So here's the problem with that. Borrowing only works if someone actually has money. So if nobody had money in the first place, borrowing could not even start, right? Could never even start. So a chain of borrowers only makes sense if there is an owner somewhere. Explain this to yourself slowly, right? An endless chain of borrowed things does not create ownership, right? So you could say like, okay, a common response would be maybe the universe is the one thing that just exists. Let's test that, right? Does the universe look like something that exists on its own or something that depends, right? The universe is made of parts. We all know this. It changes. It expands, right? That's the most recent discovery, right? That's also been quoted in the Qur'an, by the way. It says that the universe is constantly expanding. Another miracle that we will go through in different videos. But it changes. It expands. It has a history. It runs down, right? And on the strongest modern evidence, it likely began, right? With the Big Bang. Here's a simple rule. If something is made of parts, it depends on its parts, right? So the universe doesn't look like the owner. It looks like another borrower. Another response would be, what if it's just an infinite chain? No foundation, just endless causes. But an infinite chain doesn't solve the problem if every link is still borrowed, right? That doesn't make sense. So here's the phone analogy. So imagine your phone is dead. And so you plug it into a power bank, right? The power bank is dead. So you plug it into another power bank. That one is dead. So you plug it into another one. You can keep doing that forever. But none of it explains where that power comes from. At some point, you would need a wall outlet, right? A source that has power on its own. It's the same lesson here. An endless chain of dependent things never becomes independent. Hooks can't hang on hooks forever unless something is attached to the ceiling. So what's the simplest answer to why is there something rather than nothing? The simplest answer is there is a reality that exists by itself, not borrowed, not dependent, not made of parts, not temporary, not created. This is what people mean by God in the philosophical sense, also in the Islamic sense, right? Not a creature inside the universe, not a force inside nature, not a man, not a woman, but the foundation of existence itself. You could ask, someone asks, who created God, right? That could be a very common response. But that question misunderstands what we mean by God itself, right? If something is created, it's borrowed. So asking who created the uncreated foundation is like asking who charged the wall outlet. The wall outlet is what ends the chain. So this argument isn't saying everything needs a cause, it's saying everything that is borrowed needs an explanation. And reality cannot be only borrowed forever, right? So, this is where Islam lands with this. Here's what's beautiful. The Quran describes God with the exact qualities this reasoning leads to, which is in Sūrah al-Ikhlāṣ, chapter 112, say He is Allah one, Allah the self-sufficient. He neither begets nor is born, and none is comparable to Him. Qul huwa Allahu ahad, Allahu samad, lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. Independent. He is independent, not dependent, not coming from anything, not like creation. And the Quran also says He is the first and the last. Before everything, after everything, the one reality that doesn't begin and doesn't end. So yeah, the question is, why is there something rather than nothing? That question has a real answer, and it's a world full of borrowed things points to a reality that isn't borrowed. A chain of dependencies points to something independent, and an endless chain without a foundation explains nothing. So that's why atheism is not the rational default. It doesn't answer the biggest question, it avoids it completely. So theism gives reality a foundation. So yeah, if this helped you, then please share it with someone who's honestly searching. And then the next episode, I want to go into the dependencies argument through Ibn Sīnā, and go a little bit more deeper on that, more detailed version of the same truth. So we will see you there. Thanks so much for watching. May peace be upon you. Assalamu alaikum.